Preparation goes before the retirement. Because if you allow yourself not to be proactive, but to be reactive, then you have a lot of problems. The key thing about retirement is that you must have a purpose. The minute you lose your purpose, then what are you giving your energy to? If you're not giving your energy to anything, you die.
Hi, welcome to Inside Edge, brought to you by Lagos Business School Management Hub. Today on the podcast, we have Dr. Tunde Ekpe. Dr. Tunde Ekpe lectures on the MBA and Executive Education programs at Lagos Business School. She's an accredited executive coach, psychometric profiler, and also the director of Optimentus Limited, based in Oxford, United Kingdom. And she's not just here to talk about everything we know, she's here to talk about something that's very striking. She's here to talk about psychology of retirement. Welcome to the show, Dr. Tunde Ekpe.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
It's nice having you here.
Thank
you. Before we actually delve deep into the psychology of retirement, I would like to ask you to envision yourself on your first day of retirement. How is it going to be like? How do you picture this being to you?
Okay, so are you asking me, or are you telling me to tell people how they should picture
No,
retirement?
I'm asking you.
Okay, well, officially I'm retired.
Okay.
So that's the first thing I'll say.
Okay.
But I'm retired but not tired. I'm actively retired. And that's how I think everyone should picture themselves.
Okay.
Right? Retirement means ending one phase of your life and moving into another.
True.
So you have freedom, money, freedom to do the things that you want to do. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
money to do the things you want to
to
do.
do.
And to choose the people you do them with.
True.
And that's really what the psychology should be about. When you envisage how you want to feel when you retire,
True.
think about doing the things you love with people you love at whatever time you want to do them.
True.
That's the healthy way to look at it. Okay. But a lot of people look at retirement as, I'll never have anything left to do. I'm going to lose my relevance and things like that. But put a positive spin on retirement. It's just another phase of life.
Amazing thinking from that angle. Thank you so much. Now, you talked about how people struggle basically with their identity after retirement. So how can people actually prepare themselves mentally and emotionally after they're retired?
Okay. Preparation goes before the retirement.
Okay.
Because if you allow yourself not to be proactive, but to be reactive, then you have a lot of problems. Most people that I know that have problems after retirement tend to think, retirement is a long way away. I'm only 45. Therefore, I'm going to retire at 20. But what I try to tell them is that if you're in another country, such as the United States or England, they'll tell you, your expected lifespan is 85. In Nigeria, officially, it's something like 55.
Yes.
So
55.
If you think about it, you think, if I'm 45, maybe I've only got 10 years to go. Therefore, if I'm spared, and my life is spared, and I can actually age older, I can be older than 55, then you really have to start preparing.
Yes.
Right? Not to die, but to sort of spend the rest of your time in a very useful space. So what I always tell people is, one of the biggest fears when one retires is, am I going to have enough money? Where am I going to sleep? What am I going to eat? Will my children look after me? Or will they avoid me? Will they consider me a burden? Will my wife or my husband still love me? Will they still be here? So those are the things that one has to prepare, really. Sort of say, let me envision what I want to do, and then let me plan to ensure that comes into being.
True. Thank you so much. Now, talking about what you said about would my children take care of me, divorce, and all of those marital problems. I was watching a video where someone actually said there are phases in retirement. What do you think these phases are? And do you think you can actually help us in that kind of phase? Like, how would they fall under?
Okay. There is no one framework, but I would say that the phases would be like bereavement, right? Okay. So you've been going to work probably the same job for the last 18, 20 years. You wake up one morning, they've given you your watch, they've had a send-off party for you, and you're in denial until the first Christmas. All those hampers you used to get, suddenly no one sends you a hamper.
Very true.
So your first thing is, oh my goodness, they've forgotten me, right? And so you're in denial at first until something puts you into reality.
True.
And then you start to come to terms. And then there's acceptance. And then once you accept that you are retired from where you are coming, you can then fully embrace what is yet to come. But if you haven't planned for what is yet to come, it will just meet you anyhow. A lot of people, for example, in Nigeria, they know that you've now got a nice severance package. So suddenly someone starts showing up on your doorstep. Because you're desperate for friends, you're thinking, oh yeah, this is fantastic. Arthur really likes me. That's why Arthur keeps showing up on my doorstep. And your children start calling him uncle and things like that, right?
Yes.
And then you realize that actually Arthur suddenly has this very interesting scheme. Someone wants you to buy an oil well.
Okay.
Or someone has some lucrative Bitcoin or cryptocurrency thing. Why you out of the billions of people in the world, right? But they make you feel special and you're desperate for friends. So you actually ensure that your money now goes there. And the next thing you're running around, all your life's earnings have gone down the drain. So one of the things I tell people is, never mind. Just look around and say, who are my real friends? And stick to those old friends. Don't start making new friends just when you retire. Because chances are, a lot of the time, they're looking at your retirement package.
True. 100%.
They're looking at your retirement package. 100%. So it's like, people who get divorced or something and get a settlement. And suddenly everybody's coming around and saying, oh, we're going to help you invest in this building or that building. And before you know it, gone. So don't try anything that you don't know about. So accept and prepare to move forward with people you like, people you know, and what you know.
True.
So many people say, oh, I'm leaving the oil industry. I'm going to go and set up a hotel. What do you know about hotels? And why at 60, 65 do you want to set up something that requires a lot of capital? It requires a lot of labor. It requires a lot of knowledge, specialist knowledge. Otherwise, that hotel is going to run down.
True.
And you spent a lot of money.
True.
And we know lots of people who try to start an airline without knowing the foggiest thing about airlines.
100%. Which is
so
actually true.
Prepare, accept that you're retired from one phase, and then say, what do I really want to do? If you haven't been proactive about planning it, then you can still plan, but make sure you have your wits about you, because there'll be people waiting to take whatever it is that you've got that you are hoping to live on.
True, actually.
And so
I also think that why people see it this way is that after retirement, they feel like their sense of identity is just gone with the job. They don't have that, zeal to do something other than work. Like, how do I give back to the community? How do I actually do things for fun?
Absolutely.
Yes. Like, what do you do? Like knitting, feeding the poor, doing something, relevant. So before we get to the next question, it's game time. I hope you play games.
Well, it depends.
Okay. This is fun. So this game is called Finish the Sentence. So I'll start a sentence and you help me finish the sentence. Okay. The best part of retirement will be?
I can sleep in whenever I like.
Amazing. And lazy at the same time. The one thing people don't expect about retirement is?
For me to be busy. I'm not always available.
Okay, which is actually true. When I think of my perfect retirement day, it includes?
It includes having tea, reading the newspapers, reading a lovely book.
Okay.
And then going out and making someone smile.
Amazing, actually. A surprising thing about retirement is?
You get a lot busier than you thought you would.
100% true.
Because everyone thinks that, you've got the time.
You've got the whole time, but you actually got time to now think, what next?
Absolutely.
And that ponders and that thought is just occupied in your mind, and that's more work. True, actually.
And that's because a lot of us think that you have to be doing something. But there's actually nothing wrong with just being. And just sort of like really appreciating yourself and saying, you know what, I feel really good today. I'm not thinking about, I should have reached this thing. Sometimes you have to write down your accomplishments to see that you've done it all.
You've done it all. You've done
it all. You've done a lot of things.
It's true.
But most of us, sort of like sit around and say, how can you be whatever it is at 27? When I was 27, I hadn't done this, that, and the other. And you're thinking, well, it's too late now. You're 74. and that person is still running around. Look at some of the boards in Nigeria. 84-year-olds are still sitting on the board.
Yeah.
And a 45-year-old CEO is trying to get decisions through. And they're saying you're a small boy. When are you going to grow up?
True, actually. True. Which brings us to the next question I actually wanted to ask you. Would you say that leaders of tomorrow, when Nigerians don't give the youngers, the chance to actually grow or the chance to actually expand, how do we now say this young people, the leaders of tomorrow, can actually come in when there's no room for retirement?
Leaders are not given the time to be leaders. You're a leader now or you are not. So anyone who says, I'm waiting for the older ones to give me the chance, you're not ready to be a leader. To me, that's just procrastination. You can be a leader whenever you want. It's for you to take up the cudgels and just say, fine, you don't want me to be leader of such and such. I am moving off in the direction of X. And I notice that with a lot of the Gen Zs now. They don't wait to be told it's your time.
Yes.
They just go. I mean, when you have people saying it's my time and they're already 70, that just shows you a general malaise.
True.
So you seize the cudgels and you go.
True.
Gowon was 34 when he was head of Nigeria. And now the leaders have been getting older and older. So it's not going to go away anytime soon.
True, actually. Thank you so much. Now we're talking about the traditional way of Nigerians after they leave retirement room. They have this psychological mentality of, let's move back to my hometown and building houses here and there. Do you think that's an escape mechanism, or it's more of relaxation time, or they should do better, or how should they give back to society? What do you think about that psychological mentality?
I think a lot depends on how you take your occupation when you're actually actively working. Some people are just filling up space. They really don't have anything else they want to do, so they become addicted to their work. Now, somebody like that, once he stops, the next addiction is who's going to be around me, saluting me. I'm going to go to the village where I'll be relevant. So you find people who retire and go and become kings in their village, and you think, what on earth is this guy doing? He could be giving back this way and that way and that way. But it's not the giving back that interests them. It's the sense of relevance. It's the sense of being a boss.
True.
That's what they're used to, and that's what they want.
Yes.
So they want people who won't question them or anything else. So they slip into that. Now, a lot of people willingly go to the village, and then there are those who go unwillingly. A lot of people haven't planned for retirement in the city. So if you haven't planned for retirement in the city, you might end up in your village or town, as you call it, because a lot of people actually come from hamlets or villages. I'm afraid to say, anecdotally, a lot of those people die very, very quickly. Because if you've been used to engaging your intellect in certain ways, going back to the village isn't going to help much. If you're sitting down and, people come around and you're the elder, but, somebody stole a chicken, can you adjudicate? I mean, not belittling anyone who's decided to move to the village. But if you move to the village, have a farm or do something useful that requires you to think about it and requires you to run it almost like a small enterprise. But at least you'll see that there's a purpose.
True.
The key thing about retirement is that you must have a purpose. The minute you lose your purpose, then what are you giving your energy to? If you're not giving your energy to anything, you die.
True.
That's what happens.
Amazing. And now you talked about planning, which brings us to the last question, where we talk about pension, savings. How do you think this can actually drive you to that retirement mindset that, I have this saved up, I think it's enough, or it's not enough? And do many people actually know about this pension and retirement saving plan?
Okay, now many people don't work in the formal sector. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't have pension plans. Not the sort of formalized ones in the formal sector. So, you don't have an employer that pays a certain percentage of your salary into a pension plan. You also pay some. These are forced savings that hopefully you can draw on when you come out. But we all know what it's like with the currency and the purchasing power of the
Yes.
naira, right?
Yes.
So I remember many years ago, I had an aunt-in-law who retired on, I think her annual pension was 24,000. And she thought, oh, this is fantastic. I have 2,000 naira every month to spend. Within a year, that 2,000 naira, the purchasing power had shrunk to literally 200 naira, right? Yeah, some of us used to earn 300 naira and fly to England every month because the ticket to England was 250 naira.
Oh my God.
Right?
Those days.
Yes, those were the days. And some people would say, oh, I'm related to a pilot. So they'd fly for 25 naira.
Oh.
Right? So it seemed like a lot of money. And so if you went, 3-4 times a year, it was fantastic. But that's not the case now. A lot of the purchasing power goes down. However, land and buildings tend to appreciate in capital value. So I always tell people who have no formal pension plan, they try and have something, bricks and mortar, somewhere to live and somewhere to rent. At least you're generating something after you've retired. Then your business, make sure you built it up to such a stage that it can still pay you something. Either you sell it or you still have people paying you on a regular basis. Yes. It's really, really important that you think about what is going to come. I know people now who are in their 60s, 70s who are still asking their classmates for help, which is really, really sad.
Yeah.
It's not that they didn't work. It's not that they didn't put money into a pension plan, but the purchasing power of the naira has gone down considerably. So it's good to have bricks and mortar. Some people have shares, but shares are just a gamble as well.
Yes.
And then for those who are lucky enough to be able to afford it, they should try and get something that yields foreign exchange. So recently, the Nigerian government issued dollar bonds. The returns on those dollar bonds are going to be in dollars.
Okay.
So by the time you start translating it, you're actually, in terms of the naira, you're actually earning more as the years go by, unless there's some sudden miracle and the naira starts to, become much more valuable against the foreign currencies like dollars and sterling.
I hope that day comes.
I hope that day comes too.
Thank you so much for being with us in this podcast. And it's amazing to hear what you had to say about the psychology of retirement. And I hope people can actually see that retirement is not just the end, it's the beginning of something new.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tunde Ekpe. Thank you so much for joining us in Inside Edge, brought to you by the Lagos Business School Management Hub. Thank you.